How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Live Well with us, and he can say his name and what he does in the band.
Hey, it's Paul. I'm the lead singer, and I'm the main songwriter of the band as well. And I
Awesome.
kind of play guitar. Not
Kind
really
of.
yeah. That's how I describe it.
There we go. Awesome. So my first question, Paul, I always love getting kind of like the anthology of a band. So how did you start out Live Well, or just how did you start out as a musician, and like what really got you wanting to like write and create music?
That's like a really good question, especially since I said I just kind of play guitar. So all of my bandmates, I would say, are really amazing musicians.
There you go.
I can't believe it, right? They're all the real rock stars to me. I, on the other hand, had just started playing guitar maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
So I don't really know how to play guitar. I kind of do. Like 2 or 3 years ago, I just like knew like 2 or 3 years ago, I didn't know there were like names for chords or whatever. Like I just knew like the shapes, and I was like, yeah, that makes this sound, and I guess I could put it with this one. But now I know it's like A or E minor or G, and I'm like learning all of these things, and I'm still learning today. So like it kind of happened. I kind of learned how to play guitar because one of my old friends was like, I want to like play in a band with you because you seem cool. And I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know how to do anything. I can kind of sing, but sure. And he's like, okay, here, I'm going to teach you one of my songs. And if you don't learn it by next Saturday, it was a Saturday. He's like, then I'm not going to be your friend anymore. And I kind
Oh
of like
man.
just got, yeah, that was like, I think it was like tongue in cheek. He was kind of joking, but I'm like generally an anxious guy. So when he said that, I was like, all right, I got to learn how to play guitar or else I'm not going to have a friend. And I don't have
True.
many of those. So,
Oh man. I'll
so
be
like
your
I
friend, Paul.
learned, yeah, oh, thank you. So like, yeah, I learned how to play guitar because I almost felt like if I didn't, I would let my friend down, I would lose a friend,
There you
all of
go.
that stuff. But then I eventually like just fell in love with playing, and like not even though I didn't understand it, like I was just like, yeah, I'll just play. And like the way that I learned how to play guitar or even just like write songs was from this friend of mine, this old friend of mine who didn't really know how to write songs himself.
Hmm.
So he would just like like find chords or a guitar line that he really enjoyed, and then just like sing stuff. Like sometimes maybe just hum, and then
Hmm.
just put any words in there if it was like funny or silly or whatever. And then when it was like, oh wait, I actually have an idea, then I'll put the serious stuff in there, or not the serious, but like the stuff I want the song to be
Of course.
in there. Yeah, and that's kind of how I started songwriting, and that's kind of how I still songwrite today, where I'll write the music first, and I'll hum something, and I'll usually come up with a line, and then I'll base a whole song around that line and that feeling. But
That.
in terms of Live Well in the band,
Hmm.
I had been doing that for like 6 years, putting my music on Bandcamp, recording it on my iPhone, not really thinking anybody was listening, not really caring, mostly like just doing it for myself.
Sure.
But I went on a road trip with my bandmate Max, who plays guitar in the band as well.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember on the road, we were either leaving Vegas or we were heading towards Vegas, and we were just sitting and like not really talking. And he goes out of nowhere, he's like, "Man, you got to let me try and produce an album for you, please. Like these songs you've been playing on the road, they're so good, they're so amazing. I really just like want to know what they would sound with a full band around them, and what they would be like."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I guess. And that's how it started. And when we came back to New York, it was me and him just like figuring out these songs. And the way that I remember the band forming and coming together was like, let's say like on a Sunday in early April, after like months of practicing these songs, just me and him, Max texts me and he says, "Hey, do you want to play a show at the end of the month?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And I think it's going to be like a Tegan and Sarah, like me and him, like,
Yeah.
okay, we're
Small
just going to
show.
be
Yeah.
two dudes. Yeah. I thought it was just going to be that. And he was like, all right, come over tomorrow. Come over that Monday. I meet our former bandmate Matt, who played guitar and who played on the record and helped
Hmm.
like flesh these songs out. And he's like, oh yeah, so Mac's like, oh yeah, so Matt's gonna play guitar for us too, to, like just really fill out the sound. And my roommate Neil is gonna play drums for us, if that's cool. And that following Friday, like the four of us were together, And then that following Tuesday, we met Matt. Matt brought his friend Lewis, who's our bassist now, to play with us, and that's how the band was formed within like less than a week, like super fast, just like whirlwind thing. And like for me, it's like through going on this road trip with Max, we were on the road for a month across the country, lived together on his miniature modded school bus. Like I've learned on that trip, if I say yes to whatever Max wants to do, like, or not even whatever he wants to do, it's not like one of those things, but if he has an idea and he's like, I think it would be awesome, or I think it would be fun if we tried to do this,
Yeah.
and he like, if I just say yes, then all this crazy cool stuff is going to happen. And like, so I had that mindset going in, and like from spending a month or two just me and him playing in his living room, in the span of a month, I was like in a full band for the first time in my life. I was like, and I was like the lead singer of it. It was crazy. It's like, and we're kind of still here today, and I kind of still like
I would hope
do
so.
that. I kind of still just say like, yeah. I like in the band group chat, if it's like, hey, should we try and like play a show here or try to do this? I'm just like, yeah, sure, man. I have no qualms. I'm not like, I'm like, yeah, why not? If we can, then we will. You know,
But that's cool. It's
it's
like a go with the flow kind of mentality where you're like, and it's kind of crazy to me because I find a lot of comparisons to like how I do things like with the channel and stuff as like, when shouts to Becky from Big Picture when she sends me
mhm.
over like these bands and stuff. I'm like down for anything. She could like shoot me over like, a country artist, or she could shoot me over like
Yeah,
a metal artist, or she could shoot me over like a singer-songwriter. And it's really cool because everybody has a different perspective, and it's always fun regardless of who I talk to. Like I feel like we already have a lot in common now already, and we've only been talking for like, under 10 minutes. So
yeah,
it's really cool in that respect. And I appreciate your just like lack of like just being like, I don't care, like let's just do whatever we do, whatever happens, it's gonna come out awesome, or like we're gonna do something awesome. And I think that's really cool.
yeah. I think a lot of that too comes from maybe my age. And I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm old or anything like that. Like I'm at the tail end of my 20s. I'm turning 30 next week. You know,
Well, happy
and
early
that's not
birthday.
old. Thank you so much. That's not like, and I don't. I'm not saying like, oh man, I'm old. I'm gonna be 30. I'm just
Yeah,
saying like, I have done with my 20s. I like have lived this kind of important decade. And
sure.
like in the in your early 20s, when I learned how to play guitar, or like when anyone's playing music, or when you're just like a young, kind of young adult, young kid, whatever, you're like, yeah, I want to be like a rock star. I want to do all these cool things. I want
Yeah,
to. You have like these huge expectations, and then they all eventually, I mean, if you had a life like mine, not to say it was bad, but it just like didn't go as planned when I was
sure.
younger.
Yeah,
So now when it's just like, oh, I just happen to know four other people uh in this band who are really talented and want to play shows. Am I
yeah.
going to put all this weight on it? No, I'm going to just say like, I don't care. Like, let's just go for whatever we want to go for and have fun, because that's like what's important, you know?
Yeah,
Like, I feel
it's
like,
the takeaway is like, doing those things that, you can look back on and be like, wow, I did all that stuff because I didn't just let like my mind be like, oh, well, like you were talking about being anxious, like you let your mind like just run, 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 and you're just like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should do this, like blah, blah, blah. And I know I've had many times where I've thought that, and I've just been like, you know what? The worst they could say is no to me, you know what I mean, or it doesn't
yeah,
happen this
exactly.
time around, and maybe next time it will, but you just never know. So like it's better, I would rather sleep well at night knowing that I did all that I could, or like ask for all that I could ask for. And if it happens, awesome, that's great, love it. If it doesn't happen, that's just, just kind of like a detour to hopefully something better.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I feel that way for sure.
Awesome, awesome, Paul. Well, the next question, we're gonna keep it more on the lines of the music stuff. If you guys obviously have done some tours and stuff. So, what are some favorite venues that you guys like to play at or catch a show at in your hometown?
Oh, wow. Um, ooh, my favorite place we've played,
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
say I would say actually I feel like this answer was like both. We played the Knitting Factory a couple times in
Oh, tight.
Brooklyn,
Yes.
and that was insane for me because like um this is going to be kind of a weird tangent story,
It's all good. I
but
love it.
like 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I got laid off from this job in California. So I was like, I can't live out here. I can't afford to live out
Yeah.
here. I'm gonna move back to my hometown. I'm gonna move back in with my parents. And I was so bummed about it. You know, like that always
Sure.
feels like you're tucking your tail between your legs. So as like a fun, cool thing for myself, I purposely bought like a red eye flight from LA to New York,
Oh,
and
sick.
then I knew I was gonna land like the morning of whatever day, and that night I bought tickets to see a show at the Knitting Factory.
Oh, sick.
Uh, so I was like, right when I get back, I won't have time to like let myself feel sad. I'll just go to a show at the Knitting Factory.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I met up with one of my friends who I hadn't seen in like 5 years because I told him I was coming back, and he was like, "Oh, what do you want to do? Like, I'll be in the city that day." And I was like, "I'll just buy you a ticket to this show. I know you're not really into like pop punk music, but we'll have a good time because we've been friends since like before high school, you know."
There you go. Yeah.
Um, so like I had a really fun, awesome night with him, and then kind of like just forgot about that whole story happening
Hmm.
until I was in this band, and it was just like, hey, do you want to play the Knitting Factory? Like, not that's not usually how it goes, but like I found out we were playing the Knitting Factory, um, and I was like, this is insane. Like, this is like a weird, like a narrative arc is like a circle, you know? Like I
Yeah.
started when I came back to New York, like not like my life wasn't here anymore. And then
Yeah.
just within the span of 3 or 2.5 years at that point when we first played there,
Hmm.
um, or when I first went there to see like a really fun, awesome show, and it was one of my like greatest. It was one of my greatest show going experiences to play there 2.5 years later and do that for some of my friends
Yeah.
and some other people blew my mind. It was like hard not to be kind of emotional in that moment.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
we've played there twice, like that first time, and then we played there a second time. And the second time we played there, it was still just as emotional because it was like it's so weird going into these venues where like when I was 21, I almost said 18, but like that's illegal. So I wasn't, but when I when I was 21 and going into all these venues and stuff, never in a million years did I imagine I would be standing on that stage. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you dream about it. You know, like when you're young, you watch a band play and you're like, man,
Sure.
I wish that was me. That would be so cool. Or not, you know, like that's so awesome. I wish I could do that. Like whether it's like music or you're watching like any other performance art, if you're into it, you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like picturing yourself up there, but also enjoying yourself. And I always like I'm definitely one of those kids, you know. I was like, I wish
Yeah.
I could do that. I wish I could. I wish I could. But then
Yeah.
I did, and I can't believe it. Like if you told me that like at any point in my life before I did that, I'd be like, dude, get out of town.
Yeah.
Here's a
That's not
walking stick.
happening.
Leave. Yeah. like I
Yeah.
wouldn't believe it.
It's crazy. Like, I've also had those moments doing this too, because, I've been doing this for about 3.5 years. And it's, I mean, like, also just people, I love, talking to people about music regardless. Like, we were talking about like genre barriers just about a second ago. But, like, it's
Mm.
cool to see somebody like really kind of, not to say that other people don't, but like it's really cool to see artists go after their dreams and really kind of like get to that point. And then like I also feel like when a band is like really emotional about like where they're playing at, like if it's a hometown show, or like obviously like you guys playing the Knitting Factory, like it's
Mm.
cool to see as like a patron of watching the shows and stuff like that, or like liking the band for so long and now they're doing something really big. It's always cool to see how like that emotion kind of translates into their performance as artists up on the stage, because I feel like like as a showgoer you're like even more invested because you're like, holy shit, that like happened, with
Yeah.
that band, and you're just like, man, like that brings me energy, and then like you guys feed off that energy, and it's a really cool like, like full circle moment for not only I feel like the artists that are playing on stage, but also like for the people that are going there, because it's like a once in a I wouldn't even say once in a lifetime experience, but it's just like that moment is so cool. And
Yeah.
again, it's like really cool to see people doing that and just kind of like putting their like heart in it too, because I feel like the playing just is like, even if it's not perfect, it's like, wow, like they're really putting in that time, they're really putting in
Yeah,
that
yeah, that effort,
energy.
yeah.
It's so awesome. So, well, congrats, Paul, on that. That's awesome. Hopefully,
Thanks,
next time you guys play the Knitting Factory, I'll have to trek my way up there.
man. Yeah. It's
Awesome.
it's a sick venue. Like, and you mentioned like hometown shows. Like, most of the band is from Yonkers, and we play Yonkers a bunch. And like,
Yeah.
um, on the last kind of little short run of shows we did, a little tour we did, we got to play my hometown.
Oh,
And
tight.
I never wanted to play my hometown because like the bars here kind of suck, and like, and it's not that they suck. It's just like they're weird, like they don't draw people in,
Sure.
and but
Yeah.
there are music, and I love it here. I'm not one of those kinds of pop punk dudes where it's like my hometown sucks, I gotta leave. I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay here for as long as I can. Like I
There you
love
go.
it. It's like a little secret hideaway place for me.
There we
But when
go.
we played this one bar, which is like my favorite bar growing up, like going to, we played this one bar, we packed it out, and never in my life, growing up here, have I seen it that full for like the style of music that we were playing and the
Sure.
bands that we booked.
Yeah.
I was blown away. That was like a really good one too, because my mom came. That was like the first time my mom got to see me play ever, and I couldn't like look in the direction where she was, like with the rest of my family, like my brother and like his son. Like I couldn't look in that direction, or I'd start like bawling while I was playing
Yeah.
because it was just like, I can't believe you guys are here. This is crazy.
And
But
yeah,
yeah,
like, and that's cool too. Like, I mean, again, I wish that at some point in my life, like, I'll be able to play, a hometown show, eventually.
Mhm.
But again, that must be like an otherworldly kind of experience. And I'm glad that you were able to kind of enjoy that moment as much as you probably didn't want to like cry on stage. But it's cool to again, it's really cool to see bands really get into it, especially if it's like a local, like, close to home kind of show. I think those bring out, and they're probably some of my favorite shows too, just in that respect, because they're just so like emotionally driven, and you can just
yeah,
feel it like in the venue, and it's awesome.
yeah, exactly. It's like a different. It's almost like a family reunion, but
Exactly.
not.
But like with a lot of people. Anyway,
Yeah.
my next question, Paul, to kind of segue to the next after the venues that we were talking about, what was the last show that you attended that you didn't play?
Oh my gosh, that was such a long time ago. I'm gonna lie. Like right
Ooh.
now.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna lie. I was really sick for the past week.
Aw.
Uh, yeah, like I just started feeling better yesterday, where I could like talk and get up and leave the house. But the last show I would have went to would have been last Friday. I would have seen Joyce Manor and Saves the Day and Awake
Ooh.
but Still in Bed. That would have been the last one because I got invited by like a bunch of people. They were like, "We all just have extra tickets, man."
And you're
And
just
one
like,
of
yeah.
I like before then I was like, "Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know, man." Like, because
Yeah.
if
Like,
two of my friends have one extra ticket, then I can take my partner with me and I can take myself,
there you
and
go.
like no one's gonna be mad,
No.
and I don't have to pay anything. And then like I wake up Wednesday morning last week and I was just like, "Oh, sweet. I have to go to the doctor because everything hurts and I feel
Oh,
awful."
no. Oh,
And then
man.
I just like had a fever. So that
Oh.
was the last show I would have went to. Sort of kind of bummed about it, but it's all right. I was really deathly sick and I had to get better.
Yeah.
But I can't really remember the last show that I went to that I didn't attend. I think it was like a local Yonkers show. I think I saw these bands Float and Maintenance play. They're
Oh,
like
tight.
local Yonkers bands.
Okay.
Yeah. And good friends with both of those guys. I think that was the last show. But that was a long time ago. That was maybe a year ago, or maybe, geez, my memory is so bad. Or maybe I saw Pine Grove play after that when they did like those couple of shows in the city
Oh, sick. Yeah, yeah,
in New York City. Yeah. Man, I'm bad. But then I remember seeing Mom Jeans at one point
yeah. Ooh,
also.
nice. Yeah,
So I
mom
don't.
jeans.
Yeah,
There you
when they played
go.
with
Well,
Just Friends. That
hopefully
I'm so
that
sorry. That was bad. That was a bad answer. I think. I'm so sorry.
well, hopefully that will inspire you to go out to more shows. I just feel like this isn't like, let me throw Paul under the bus, guys. Just like, has no idea what I'm going to ask next. So, I'm not trying to completely just be like, wow, Paul doesn't go to any shows. I'm just exposing him. But seriously, like, for me, it's like cool. 'Cause like, it's like I get to hear about cool local bands that I may or may not be familiar with already, or just like bands in general that I can like go give a listen to and be like, yo, this is tight. And then like message
Yeah.
Paul and be like, yo, this was tight. Uh,
Yeah.
but I'll have to check out all those bands again. Don't be too hard on Paul in the comments. He didn't know.
Yeah. No, and it's okay, man. But I do love going to shows when I'm not playing them. I know that sounds a little pretentious, but it's like, but it's like, dude, when you're playing a show, you got to be there like 19 hours earlier,
That's true. You're
and
right.
you're,
I
it's
gotta
just
give you that. I gotta give you that respect. It's like it's crazy. Like I'll go with like some of my band friends to shows, and I'm just like, wow, this is totally different. Like, I mean, I feel like I go to
yeah.
early shows, but I'm like, I'm not showing up like the day before and like setting up a tent outside of the venue. So,
Yeah, that's
uh,
exactly what it feels like. I thought it was like, dude, this was the first time I was in a full band, and I'll say it again. So when like we first started playing shows, I was like, we got to be there that early, and then we just sit around and wait. like,
you're like,
like
what do
then
I
what?
do?
Yeah, that's the
Awesome.
worst part. But I mean, the worst best part. I'm being pretentious and complaining.
It's okay. Listen, we'll let it slide. Everybody has their things. Like, I'm sure I've said some really bad stuff about music too. So, we're just gonna roll over it like it never happened, and we're gonna move into the
Sounds
next
good.
question, which is the big one. Paul, tell them about your musical influences. I guess you could speak for the band. Like, who do you guys draw from musically?
So this is really weird. We always, or at least when we describe ourselves, right? We say we sound like. This is weird because I just mentioned I was going to see Saves the Day and Joyce
I
Manor,
know.
but a lot of people, yeah, but a lot of people, and like to a point, we were like, yeah, um, we kind of like. I don't think we purposely do anything that's like to mix those two things. I don't think that's like a purposely where it's like, yeah, we want to sound like Save the Day and Joyce Manor. I think the
Yeah.
closest thing to that is that Joyce Manor has such short songs, and that's the one thing I'm like, yeah, you know what? We're gonna have like 2 minute songs. I don't want to have a song longer than 4 minutes, like because I don't have the time. I don't. That sounds also really pretentious. I do have the time for a 4 minute song, but like, come on, I don't have the time. I do, but I don't. Like unless I'm
You're
on a
being honest. You're just being honest. I
yeah.
love it.
And it's really cool because like if like they give a if like we play a show and they're like, oh, you have 30 minutes, we could still probably play our whole record if we don't talk.
Oh, that's so tight. That's so tight. Yeah.
Uh but um but yeah, so like I would say we're weirdly influenced by them. Um the Saves the Day thing I never really saw so much, but Max used to tell me this about when he would just listen to my solo songs, which a lot of them are on like Perfectly Temporary, but just they're all full banded out now.
Uh huh.
But he was just like, oh, you remind me a lot of like Save the Day, and some of my older cousins would say that, like, you remind me of like that dude from Save the Day, not necessarily singing voice, but just like the way you put these songs together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's like a subconscious thing. I haven't thought about Saves the Day in the longest time, or at least when it comes to writing songs. But like when I was 13, 14, or maybe even younger than that, but like just early tens into my teens,
Yeah.
like I was listening to Save the Day nonstop, like just all the time. I'd go skateboarding and then listen to Save the Day on my CD player when I would
There
go
you
home,
go. Oof.
like, or on the way to the bus, or like on the bus. like Saves the Day and like the early November. Those are the things I would listen to.
Ooh, ooh,
And
yeah.
we hear a lot that we like sound nostalgic. And this is not me being like dense or weird or looking for compliments or looking, but I'm like, I don't even know what that means. I'm like, this just sounds like music I wanted to make, like, or I've been wanting to make. Like, I don't hear how it's nostalgic or whatever. And I ask people all the time, and they always give me like different answers. But
Yeah.
I'd say like from the way we sound, I feel like we get a lot of that. And I know, Neil, our drummer, and Lewis, our bassist, they're both really into uh, Blink 182 and other
Ooh,
pop
yeah.
punk stuff.
Yeah.
Lewis especially, Lewis loves it. Lewis, I think, only owns like one T-shirt, and it's like the Wonder Years shirt. It's like a Wonder Years band T-shirt. But not to say, I'm not saying like he only owns one T-shirt. I'm pretty sure he has that one T-shirt
That, I mean,
multiple.
I don't
You
know
know,
him, so
yeah,
that's debatable. So, I mean, I'm
yeah,
only going off of what you tell me, Paul. So, I mean, I feel like if you just left it as that he just had one shirt, like I feel like people would be very interested to find out if that is the actual truth. So,
yeah. I actually think he doesn't wear that shirt anymore. He wears a Story So Far shirt all the time now. And I'm
ooh,
partly saying this because I know he's going to listen to this later.
he
And I
is.
just want to, I just want to make fun of him while he's not here. He's my best friend.
I don't know.
He's one of my best friends.
I don't know if
I don't
that's a
know.
good. I don't know if that's a good move, Paul. I mean, I feel like
I
because
know.
it's
I
on
feel
it's
bad.
on the internet, and he has the ability to comment on a video, which would also last forever. So that's I appreciate the moxie. However, I don't. I mean, this is gonna be a war. I feel like it's starting now. So
Yeah, just
best of
between
luck to
me
both
and
sides.
Lewis. Yeah, thanks so much.
But
That's,
that's awesome because I definitely feel like again, I know you're not fishing for compliments, but I'm gonna reel it in anyway. Um, I definitely feel like you have that nostalgia like pull. Like I genuinely because I listened to a few songs. And I
mhm.
was like, yeah, okay, I can definitely feel like, oh yeah, like the Joyce Manor in the sense of like the short songs, but I know like a lot of like hardcore bands do that. Like they'll do like 2 minute songs or just like real
Yeah.
fast like in your face stuff. Like old punk is like that too. But yeah, I definitely feel like Saves the Day. I could definitely hear that. Like I didn't really like I saw it obviously like in the email, and
Hmm.
I was like, I didn't really put two and two together, and then I started listening to it, and I was like, wow, I haven't listened to Saves the Day in a really long time, so I went back and listened to that, and I was just like, ooh, that
Yeah.
does. I'm like, it does. It doesn't sound like exactly the same, like as you mentioned, but I can see where people can draw the comparison for it. It definitely
Yeah.
feels in that lane of music. But I'm all about that stuff. Like, I'm super old. I'm getting up to like upper 20s. So like, you know,
Hmm.
and then for people who were asking earlier, if you are or you're not, a CD is what we used to use music for. So, just in case you didn't know what you only know what streaming is. So, just in case to clarify for other people who have no clue what a CD is. I know I'm gonna get so much hate for that, but anyway, it's cool though. Like I definitely like I feel like again we're in kind of the same age pool, so like a lot of those artists that you had mentioned prior, like are some of the same stuff that I grew up with listening to. So
Yeah.
you guys are definitely within my lane of like music, and that's why I was like again stoked to have you guys on regardless. But also like I feel like you fit with what I like generally anyway, so like it works out.
Yeah, it's really cool. I feel like we have a really good mix of like influences and stuff. I mean, like Max especially is like has the most eclectic music taste, and he's like such a talented singer. Like even with all of that stuff, he tries to like I think he tries to like elevate what we do as like an emo punk band or a pop
Yeah.
punk band or
Oh yeah.
whatever. And like, cause like all the harmonies we have, like I used to make a joke and be like, "Oh, we're just like the emo Beach Boys, man," because like a lot of almost all of us sing in the band, and we all just like try and harmonize and do a thing. And like he arranges all that, and I think it's like he listens to a lot of like R&B and like really like smooth soul stuff,
Oh yeah.
and like so he like understands the voice also as an instrument, as opposed to as opposed to being just a tool, for like being honest and sounding cool,
Yeah, no,
as it
I
were.
I
Yeah.
thought that was something that really kind of stuck out to me as well, and I'm glad you pointed it out too, because like it was something I was like, yeah, that's neat. That's like something I feel like not a lot of bands do now, and
Yeah.
it's I'm like you struck gold with me because I love harmonies, like I love that sort
Mhm.
of stuff, and when I can get a like a four-parter, oof,
Yeah.
that's gold. That is like striking gold for me. So like I was already on board, and then Becky's like, "We're doing this." So I was like, "Awesome!" So good to. I'm glad to spread the word of live well. So
Yeah.
awesome. My next question, Paul, kind of the follow up, the influences. Speaking about streaming and stuff, who have you been listening to recently? Streaming on Spotify. If you still put a CD in your car or in your CD player.
um, I've had one CD in my car for the longest time. Um, it was like I played a solo show in the wintertime
Oh, tight. Okay.
with this band called Elephant Jake,
Oh yeah, they're
and
sick.
so they just like gave me their CD. They're like, "We really like your set." And the singer guy, I forgot his name. I feel bad now that I forgot his name. I'm an asshole.
It's okay. Can't remember them all. I'm probably gonna forget
Yeah,
your name like as soon as we're done with this interview. No, just kidding.
that's okay. I mean, you gave me a disclaimer, so that's good. But he gave me his CD, and I've had his CD. I've had an Elephant Jake CD in my car for like the longest time, and then I got an advanced CD of our album. So then now that's
Ooh,
in my car.
there you go.
Because I don't know, man. There's something like really weird about that whole thing. But streaming, I've been listening to. It's really weird. I used to listen to like a lot of emo and like pop punk and
Sure. Yeah.
like just nonstop. But then I started being in a band that like makes this music, so I completely almost stopped listening to it altogether.
Sure.
Not
Yeah.
in a not in like a way where it's like I can't stand it anymore. It's just like, oh, I need like a break.
Something
So
else. Yeah.
I've been listening to a lot of like lo-fi beats, like just the
Oh
playlist.
yes. Oh okay.
Like like after band practice, and we play through our set, we play the records, we work on new songs, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna listen to like what I imagine smoking indoors on a rainy day would feel like.
That's the
Either
perfect
that or like,
analogy. That is the perfect analogy for any lo-fi listener. I feel
yeah,
like.
it's that or and I've been listening to the latest National
Oh,
album,
sick.
the latest
Yes.
album by the National. I forgot the name of that. I think it's No One Else Will Be There. No, that's wrong. It's something, but there there's like a short film on YouTube about it that's like that they made, which is like really emotional and powerful, which is really cool. So I've been listening to the National a lot. A lot of my friends and a lot of people in the scene make fun of me for it, that like I'm listening to like literal old man indie rock, and I'm in I'm in this like emo punk band, but it's
it's
okay.
it is called
I'll
I'm
wear that.
Easy to Find.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
There you
I
go.
named a different song. Yeah,
Don't worry,
I
I
mean,
got your back, Paul. I can't let
thanks
the
so much.
listen. I don't know if I can save you from your bandmate, but I definitely can save you from the internet. So,
Oh no, you can't take me from him. I'm gonna get beat up later.
well,
It'll-
let me know how you make out. But that's cool because like I feel like again you brought out something that I feel like a lot of artists don't really like. I guess like say out loud, but they're like, you know what? I don't want to like listen to my genre's worth of music. Like that's not to say that again there aren't bad bands, or not to say there aren't good bands in the genre, but it's like
yeah,
sometimes you get tired of it, and I mean I think that's the beauty of what I do is that I can listen to anything from like pop punk emo stuff to like metal to like a singer
yeah,
songwriter and be like real stoked on all three of those things.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's tough. I can only imagine being in a band and like having, you know, like a bill lined up and they're all like kind of in the same kind of lane. It's tough, but
Mhm.
I do appreciate that you were honest in that respect because I feel like I feel like people are a little bit hard on themselves by being like, well, if I don't listen to like pop punk, like how am I gonna know what's like going on? And I'm like, well, I mean, do you
Yeah.
feel like every other band that like only exclusively listens to pop punk like branches out? So just, I mean,
Yeah.
some food for thought at least. But
Yeah.
my next question, Paul, is a fun one. If you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, I have so many of these, and this is like a joke at practice. I think about this a lot. I want to, I feel like, and speaking about how I was making fun of my bassist Lewis, he's actually the best singer in the band. I think, in my opinion, he has like the best voice and the best range. That being said, I want to like cover, I think, Redbone by Childish Gambino, and
Oh
just
yeah.
have him sing it because he can, and he can do it without like sounding like a little without sounding like he's forcing it.
Oh yeah.
That's like one. That's a song I would like to do. Um, Max introduced me to this band, Local Natives. That's like his favorite
Oh yeah.
band.
They're awesome.
Yeah, I want to cover like. I told him I was like, oh, I want to cover Sun Hands, and he's like, that song is so hard, Paul. Like, I don't know, like, but he's like, pick a different one, and I was like, okay, maybe that song Mount Washington, which is like really popular, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really like it. So that one we talked about in practice about maybe doing that one. Um, just recently, I started doing this thing where every week or two I tweet at the Jonas Brothers to have them to let us open for them. So my, so my drummer deal was like, dude, we have to get their attention, so we have to cover one of their songs.
Ooh, are we
And I
talking
think
like
they're
old
just
school? Are we talking old school or are we talking new school though?
I think new. I think I would cover their new song.
Okay, okay, okay.
That new song that was like "Sucker," I think it's
Oh,
called.
yep, yeah, yeah, that's a
With
good
like the
one.
clappy part in it. And I
Ooh,
listened
yeah.
to it. I listened to it yesterday, and I just like thought about the band. I thought about Live Well, and I was like, hey, we can make this song pop off and
You
be
could.
amazing. Um, so maybe that Jonas Brothers song. There's another one. There's a Get Up Kids song that I wanted to
Okay, yeah,
cover,
yeah, they're tight.
but I forgot the name. I forgot the name of it. Because it's definitely not Action in Action, although that's one of my favorite like songs of that era.
Hmm.
Uh, but it's off that record, Something to Write Home About. I can't remember. Maybe it was like Holiday. I don't
Okay,
know. But that whole album, maybe we'll just cover that whole album one day.
there you go. You'll do like a Weezer, like they did a whole
Yeah,
cover record. So who knows? But if you do like Live Well, you should let them know in the comments which one of those three choices or the Get Up Kid song that Paul can't remember in the comments, and you should tell them to cover one of those, or you should give a suggestion on what you feel like they might or should cover in the future.
sweet. I'm
Awesome.
into that.
Hey, listen, man, I'm for the people here out at Audio Addiction, so gotta help out the fans. But my
Yeah.
next question, Paul, is another fun one as well. Gotta ask, favorite food to eat?
Oh my God. I'm Filipino, so I really like Filipino food.
Oh, okay,
But
got you.
I've been trying to like, I feel like that's cheating, because it's just like, of course I love it. I grew up with it, like that's my favorite. And this is like a conversation I've had with myself. It's not like I talk about this with other people, but it's like, yeah, I feel like that's cheating. I'm like, yeah, Paul, you're right. But so like foods that are like introduced into life, I guess I was thinking about. I was like, maybe pizza, maybe pizza, like pepperoni pizza, but I'm not sure because I really do love a good sandwich, like a roast beef sandwich, like a deli sandwich, not like a Subway sandwich or a Jersey Mike's or whatever, but like a real deli sandwich.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go.
so yeah, this is weird. This is like what me and a lot of my close friends talk about a lot. Like we talk about what our favorite snacks are and what our favorite like desserts are.
I'm
Um,
digging deep. I'm
but
digging deep, Paul. That's all I'm saying. You know, I've consulted all your friends. The next questions are all directly from your friends. They're gonna come on and they're gonna ask you some questions. No, I'm just kidding, but that'd be cool though.
but yeah, I think it's like a sandwich, but it has to be like a really well constructed sandwich. Maybe, and I really like roast beef on my sandwiches or pastrami. Jesus Christ.
But that's
Uh,
like I feel like that's the New York like staple. You know what I mean? I'm about that.
yeah,
I feel like people will be
yeah,
like, "Oh, I want that New York slice," you know. But I feel like
yeah.
the deli meats, man. You don't. I feel like people don't give enough love to that. So if that is your final answer, Paul,
That's my final answer. Yeah.
I dig it because like you didn't go for that like let me go for the pizza slot. You know, you're like let me do something like that's still New York, but like not not mainstream. I appreciate
Nah.
that.
See, sandwiches are so good, man. Sandwiches are so good. And like I'm slowly like getting more and more lactose intolerant, so pizza's not that fun. But
Oh
sandwiches are
no.
so you can bring a sandwich to the beach, you can walk down the street, eat a sandwich. You can do the same thing with pizza, but like having a sandwich is a little more distinguished. You can like trick people into thinking you have like a really good like union job carrying a sandwich. You know what I mean? They're like, where do you get that? Like you only know because you're in the union or something. Like you can
That's
trick people real well with a sandwich. That's the dumbest thing I've ever said out loud, by the way.
no, that was see, but that makes it for great internet fun times right now. So I am all
I'm
about that,
okay with it.
and I've said some dumb shit in my life. So
Yeah.
this isn't the first or nor the last time that I will not only hear dumb shit, but also me say dumb shit. So you know, listen, you don't have you only have to do this maybe you know however many times you want to come back on here and I have to do
Hmm.
this every single day for until I like don't want to do YouTube anymore. So
Yeah.
I feel like you're definitely winning in that respect. I am like completely screwed on the other hand. So not to make this about me whatsoever,
No, it's okay.
but that I feel like I had to get that out there just in case people just like you know want to ream me out. But anyway, my next question, Paul, is another music related question. If you could pick somebody to collaborate with, whether it be a guest vocalist on your next record or a producer you'd like to work with in the future, who would it be?
Oh boy.
It's a weighted one. This is the big honcho, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh boy. I don't know, man. It's one of those things again, like we were talking about earlier, how if you told me like I would play the Knitting Factory or something,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't believe you. Like I we recorded our album with Ace Enders and Nick Brizesi,
Oh,
and they produced the album.
oh.
I never in a million years did I think I was gonna sit in the same room with these fucking people. And like not to be like, oh, these fucking people, but like that's crazy to me. Like I mentioned the early November before, I used to like intern in the city at like a real young age. So I'd take the bus from the suburbs into Manhattan and listen to their first record and be like, this is so cool. And you know, like the little kid thing you do where you're like, you close your eyes, you listen to a record and you picture yourself singing it, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's what I used to do. And then like 15 years later, I'm sitting in a room and he's telling me my songs are kind of cool. Get out of town, dude.
I feel like he said they were like really cool. I don't feel like he just said they were kind of cool. Like, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I don't
you
know.
guys write some good shit. So I feel like you're underselling it a little bit, but I just wanted to sell it to other people at home, you know, like
Yeah.
just in case he just like tuned in at this very moment and I'm like Ace Enders just said like they've got some phenomenal tracks and he's not wrong. So like, you know, I feel like we have to make it
Yeah.
slightly believable for the audience. I mean, not to
Yeah,
say
that's
your
true.
songs are bad, just it just in general. I feel like the belief. I was like, Paul, you know, you got good songs. Just say you got good songs.
I feel you. Thank you. Thank you. I needed that. I needed to get checked. But yeah, so like to work with them, like I can't even imagine anyone else, you know. Not to say I wouldn't do it with anybody else, but I can't imagine how like where we would go or like what would happen next because I never thought this would happen at all in the first place, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I will say though, for cool bands, the single we just released, the end is like a cappella.
Hmm.
I tried so hard to get Nick Buzezi to just like do vocals on that song. Just like I was like, dude, just sing sing the end of it,
Please
man.
sing it.
Sing, Nick, come on, Nick, come on. It wasn't that bad. I asked him one time because I didn't want to push. 'Cause that's
Yeah,
weird.
of course, yeah.
But but yeah, because I remember he made a funny comment as we were finishing recording that song. He was like, "Oh, so is this song about me now?" And I was just like, "Yeah, sure, if you want it to be. You can, like, if you consider me a friend of yours, yeah, sure." Uh, but but yeah, like that would be really cool. Like, I would like something that's really interesting to me about like guest vocals and stuff like
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like it if it would be like kind of hidden in a weird way, like that. Like if like no one had any idea that like these quote unquote famous people or these quote unquote big people in our scene were like singing on that acapella part, you know?
Yeah, or like
But they were there.
I love when bands are like not descript about like if a band like the like whoever the guest feature is doesn't like say that they guest featured on a song, like didn't post about it. So like people that
Yeah.
like didn't have any idea about it, and then like you go to listen to the song, you're like, "Whoa, that's not his voice and that's not like any of the band's voice." So I'm like, "Who is it?" Like
Like
that's
who is that? Yeah.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
cool. I love that. One band that comes to mind that I thought did it pretty well recently is this band called Seaway. They're out of Canada.
Uh-huh.
They actually had Caleb Shomo from Beartooth on one of their
Oh wow.
songs, and like like I did a review of it, so like I got it like earlier, because it was like they had it out on tour, and like I got it
Mhm.
early, the CD early when I was out seeing them. Um, but that was such a surprise because I put it in my car, and I was just like, I'm like that. I like had to rewind like the song, and I was like that. I was like that's not him, and I'm like that's definitely not the vocalist from Seaway. I'm like this is
Yeah.
somebody else, and the voice sounds super familiar. I can't figure out who it is. And then like I said, it's Caleb. So, but it like that's cool. So I love when bands are like really like hidden about who they have on as
Yeah.
like a guest.
It's I get yeah, hidden or it's like an Easter egg of some sort, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Like yeah, that's how I'd like it to be done. I don't know who. I feel like um through like playing music, we're friends with a lot of talented musicians.
Sure. Yeah.
Or so I'd work with close to anybody who was willing to, and like if I was a guest on somebody's song or whatever, that's how I'd want to do it, like how you described, or how I described. We're just like I'm not gonna talk about it. Like I'll just do it, and then we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. So if you happen to be in close to where Live Well is and you want to do a guesty, just don't tell them and just show up. Like just show up at Paul's house and be like, I'm here for the guesty spot. So uh just kidding. I have no idea. I don't know why. See, Paul, this is what I'm saying. I say dumb shit and now it's stuck on the internet forever. So
it's all
thank
right.
you. Thank you.
If people show up to my house and want to sing, I'll sing with them.
There you go. Awesome. Next
I'll back you
question.
up, dude.
Thank you. Thank you. I need that. My next question, Paul. You, as you said, you sing and you also play guitar well, I might add.
Mm.
What is another musical instrument that you would like to be proficient at to add to your arsenal?
Um, I want to learn how to play the drums. That I feel like is actually tangible. I feel like I could actually do that. And I think Neil, our drummer, I'm trying to figure out when I could meet up with him so he can teach me how to play the drums. This is something he and I have been talking about for a long time. And I initially wanted it to be a secret, but I've been talking about it with literally everybody. So I, I'm bad at keeping secrets. Like, I was like, hey, we should keep it a secret. And one day at practice, I'll go and play your drums. And then I didn't realize that the whole band was standing around me. And I was like, okay, that's not gonna, I'm an idiot. Um, So yeah, the drums is like that seems more tangible, but one that seems like kind of out there that I won't be able to do just strictly because I have bad wrists or like I must have like carpal tunnel or something or arthritis.
I feel that.
Is the piano. I can't even like I tried to teach myself how to play the piano um with like YouTube. YouTube can teach you anything.
That's true.
Like
You're
it's
right.
wild. It's so wild to me how awesome that is. Like it basically taught me how to play some songs on guitar and made me understand chord shapes, you know.
Hmm.
But like so I was like I'll do the same thing with piano, but I can't like play the piano for more than like 30 minutes without one of my wrists hurting. So that sucks. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I wish I could like play the piano and get into that, but like years of like skateboarding and falling on my wrists and like, you know.
A true pop punker, if I've ever heard
Yeah.
it. uh, Next question, Paul. My personal favorite, and I don't know if you're a big video gamer, but I love asking it. If you could
Mm.
be a video game character, who would you be?
Oh, I am a big video gamer. I
Oh,
would be
there we
Big
go.
Boss. I would be Big
Ooh,
Boss.
ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Like not Solid Snake, although Solid Snake is cool. Like, oh my gosh, is it okay if I tell a weird story? It's like short,
No,
super
dude,
short.
listen. This is I don't care. Like I love I just love like shooting the shit with bands. Like even if we go on like wild tangents, I'm okay. I'm here for the long haul. You know what I mean? I'm here for that journey.
Cool. So I went to dinner last night with my friend and my partner, and my friend kept asking me about like this interview today because cause I know about it, and I was just like, yeah, you know, it's gonna be cool, it's gonna be fun. And he goes, are you gonna give him the old Solid Snake? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, he's gonna say, hey, what's up, Paul? And you're just gonna be like Metal Gear, and like not say anything else and just say Metal
Yeah.
Gear over and over again.
Oh my god.
So I'm just gonna say Metal Gear one more time, that last time for him. If he ever listens to this, I'm gonna know I'm gonna share it. So if my friend listens to this, he's got it.
Oh
He's
my
got me saying
god.
Metal Gear as Solid Snake. But yeah, I would be Big Boss. Big Boss is so cool.
that
He's
is
got the eye patch and everything.
Oh
But
man, I think you made my life with that whole like Metal Gear thing. Oh my god, that is awesome. Shout outs to your friend. That is awesome.
yeah,
I thought you were just gonna I thought you were gonna take this down like a really weird path, so I was a little worried. But then like you brought it back,
no,
so I was just like, you're like, oh,
yeah,
I'm going to dinner, and then you're just like, and then your friend like asked
no,
about the interview, and then I started getting like super nervous, and I was just like, what is he? I was like, what is he gonna say next? I don't know what he's gonna say next. I'm kind of nervous, and then you're just like, it's Metal Gear, and then I was just like, oh, okay,
yeah,
now I know. Okay, that's cool. I'm like, ooh. I was like, I can pump
yeah,
the
yeah,
brakes a little bit. We're good. But
yeah.
that
It was related,
it
kinda.
was it was
Metal
definitely
Gear.
it
It's
was
so
definitely
weird.
I think it's because we're not. I think it's because we're not physically seeing each other. But I can imagine you're just like, you have the most like aggressive face, and then you're just like Metal Gear.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be aggressive when
There
you
you
say
go.
it. Right?
I don't know. Well, we're gonna just cap that tangent off with just being abrupt about it. But we're gonna continue on with the questions, Paul.
That
In your
sounds good.
opinion, who puts on a great live show?
Oh, I've seen Joyce Manor like 1,000 times. I think they do. I think they're really cool about it. And there's something really fun about the way they uh they like talk between songs, but they really don't. They do, but they don't. You know, like they'll say a little short something, and then they won't even be like, "This song is Chumps." They'll just be like, "Chumps," and then they just start playing it like super bored. But it's like then it's rowdy, it's raucous, it's
Oh yeah.
crazy. Like I lo- I love watching them play. The last time I did, I think, was in Philly, and I
Oh,
broke my
sick.
glasses
Oh, dude.
in the. But here's the dumb thing, right? Because they were on my face, and I was fine. I even like got in the pit. I even crowd surfed, and they were still on my face. And then I get back down, and then someone bumps me a little bit by accident, and then they fly off my face. They don't hit the ground. I go and catch them out of the air and broke them in my hand. because I
Oh
was
my
so scared they were gonna
god.
hit the ground. So
Oh,
it's not like
dude.
someone else wrecked them.
I feel that.
My dumbass wrecked them.
I
But
feel
it's
that
not like I
too.
caught them like a cool guy. Like I slapped them so hard up against
Oh.
my chest so I knew they wouldn't fall, and they just crushed.
Oh,
So yeah.
dude, I feel that. I also wear glasses. Shouts to being Asian. But like, I I can't tell you how many. That's why I like stopped doing that, and I'm like now like the old man that like stands in the back with like his arms crossed, like by the sound guy. You know, that's me.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
it's
That's
like
also me now. Yeah.
like me the same stance but like now with a camera in my hand, like that's
Yeah.
like that's it, like that's those are my two like if I had to like go to like concert moves, those are my two moves. Like it's work. That's the whole like vibe of Brandon at his show is just work.
Yeah. I will say though, and I'm gonna say this because I know this is gonna be on the internet, and I want Max, my bandmate, to know I'm serious. Um, I told him I owe him personally one more Joyce Manor pit because he's never been
Oh.
at like, I mean, he's never been to a show with me like that with that much energy. And I was
Oh.
like, if we go see Joyce Manor, you and me, I owe you one more pit. Yeah, I'll put my body on the line for you one more time.
that's
And I
that
want to say this one is being recorded, so now he knows forever. Because he always was like, Paul, you don't really mean that. I don't think he's ever said that. I feel like one time I forgot to confirm with him we were going to see them like last year or something, and I blew it. But I just
Oh.
want to reiterate, yeah, dude, I got you. I got you. I'm
I
going to
just
get
like
hurt with
I
you,
just
bud.
I just like how you're taking the time to just like air out grievances like online. You're just like, what, let me just make sure, people are in check just so they know. Like I'm not kidding around. Paul is taking no shit from no one. I just wanna know I'm backing my man Paul up and say that this is zero Johns. This is all real, and this isn't me just like recording it for like my fun time. It's going up on the internet forever. So, uh,
I'm excited.
I've never met Paul, but I could imagine he is a man of his words. So whoever you are out there, I'm backing Paul 100%. So if it doesn't happen, then you can just DM me on whatever social media platform you prefer, and just be like, listen, Brandon, you didn't do it. So then I'd have to. I'm sorry, Paul. Then I'd have to come after you. So
Yeah,
just a fair warning.
I'm going to do it. I
Okay.
have one more pit in me, and it's for Max, for me and Max to get hurt.
Oh man. All right. Well, with that being said, my next question is another music related one, kind of following in the same vein as best live band. But if you could compile a dream tour, who would be on the lineup?
Oh my gosh, with us or just
Yeah.
like in general? Go
No,
see.
with
Oh,
you. Like, why? I feel like it's okay. So let me just go on a tangent for a hot second, because I feel like
yeah.
you're like the seventh band that has been like, why me? Like, first of all, listen, have everybody on the internet listen up. Have a little bit more pride in yourself. You guys can do it, even if it's a dream tour. Just like listen, you guys can do it. You guys are killer acts. Just believe in yourself, and this shit can happen. So, don't question me when you're like, oh well, is my band on it? Hell yeah, your band's on it. Come on. All right, that was
Okay.
it.
All right. I think so. I think this band Press Club I really really like.
Okay,
They're this Australian band, a female fronted Australian band, and they kick so much ass. It's out of control.
I'm gonna check them out.
It's like listening to them is like listening to somebody kicking through a brick wall.
Oh my
It's
god.
amazing. It's like, but not like it's not like metal or anything. It's just like hard rock, but it's like there's all this energy. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
It's like feeling like you drank so much coffee you could kick through a brick wall. I'd want like like dream stuff. Yeah, if they like played in the US, I'd love to be opening for them. And I can't really think of anybody else. And I say opening on purpose because I know if it were the other way around, I would never like that would be everybody who like comes to see us would be like, yo, the Live Well set was kind of like whack. It's like kind of like not and it's like and not because I think they're a better band than or none of that stuff, but mostly because if I had to watch Press Club play and then go on, I'd have no energy to play music because I'd lose it. I'd
Yeah,
lose it. I love them so much. I
there we
like
go.
and like just like watching videos of them play live because they're mainly in Australia and
Yeah,
Europe and like
yeah,
they
yeah.
haven't come over here and just like seeing how those shows are, I'd be like, oh my god, like this is so sick. I'd like try and scream and sing. So like if I had to play after them, it would be like I would be doing everybody a disservice because I would just be tired. My voice would be gone. I'd be like, out of breath the whole time. It wouldn't be a good time. But so I would want to open for them. I don't know who else in between there, though.
We'll just at Press Club on Twitter because I feel like you had a missed opportunity with them because you've been honing all your efforts to the Jonas Brothers, which again, that's totally cool. I appreciate that. Respect.
I think that.
Um, but
Sorry,
now
I
now
forgot
we
I
have
mentioned the Jonas Brothers.
now we have to shift gears and we have to get you doing something with Press Club. So Press Club, if you happen to watch this, and just at this very moment, like right now, like you should do a tour with them because that'd be tight. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm giving the cosign. Hey, listen, I'll make a change page or whatever. Press Club and
Yeah.
Live Well. Please sign this document to signify the significance of it. So, listen, just saying, he's got the audio addiction cosign, so I'm all on board. You know.
Thanks.
Awesome. My next question, Paul, another fun one. Favorite TV show, favorite movie.
Damn, dude, that's rough. That's
I know
hard.
it's a hard
That's
one.
hard.
That's the hard balls.
Yeah, I could give you a lot of answers. I could give you a lot of answers if you'd like. I just finished watching the new show The Boys based off that comic book
Oh,
on
sick.
Amazon
Okay.
Prime.
Okay. Okay.
Holy smokes, that show is so good. For a
Okay.
new show, you know how like sometimes you watch a new show and you're like, it's not that great.
I feel that. Yeah.
For a first season, I was like, oh my god, like kissing my fingers. It was really really good. Like I watched it in like 2 or 3 days. No, that's not true. I took a week because there's only 8 episodes, so I was like really spacing them out. So that show is really good. My all-time favorite TV show might no, that's a lie. I almost lied again.
It's
No,
okay.
one of my favorite shows though is The Expanse, the science fiction show. It's also
Oh,
on Amazon
yeah.
Prime now, but I love it, and the fourth season is coming out soon. I think this upcoming winter, and I don't know what else I'm gonna be doing when that comes out. I love space stuff. It's really really cool. It reminded me like when I watched the first season, if like Mass Effect was a TV show. That's what it made me think of.
That's sick.
Without all the alien stuff.
Oh man.
But it's really really interesting. It's really cool. It like it's smart. I love that show, and I can't talk about it without like spoiling certain things.
There you
Um, uh, and speaking of that, The Good Place, super good.
go.
Something
Ooh.
more lighthearted, but
Yeah.
also I can't talk about that at all without spoiling the whole premise of that. So if you haven't seen The Good Place, like I know the first and second season are on Netflix. Just binge those bad boys, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
like, what?
You're gonna be like, this is sick.
Yeah. So those are like I guess my favorite TV shows as of right now. I do like I have like a lot of guilty pleasure TV shows that I watch, like crime dramas or cop dramas and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Um, those aren't like I wouldn't say they're a pinnacle of like television storytelling, but like I eat it up, man, like potato chips.
There you go.
So that's like Sons of Anarchy or Mayans is coming out with a second season, which is a spin-off of that because I like watching people ride motorcycles because I want to buy a motorcycle eventually. And like what else? Like Justified when that was on with
Okay.
Timothy
Yeah.
Oliphant.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like that show. Um, But yeah, so those are TV shows. Movies, it's a little harder. Movies, is a little, I went to I majored in film
Okay, tight.
and and history. Like I double majored in film and history or something. And
Wow.
I did too much. I did too much for no reason. Just be in a band. Come on, why did I go to school? It's a waste of time. Uh, but so I have a lot of weird tastes when it comes to movies. I do like big dumb action movies. I love like the Fast and Furious movies. They're
Oh yeah.
hilarious to me.
Yeah, they're
They're
great.
so funny that they exist. They're amazing. Uh, but serious, super serious movie. I like serious answer. I like this one movie called Wild Strawberries. It's a Swedish movie.
Okay.
It's like a road trip movie about an old man who is going to get an honorary degree from his old college, and it's a road trip movie. So he has to like make it there, but he meets all of these young people along the way that remind him of stuff from when he was young. It's really sweet. It's kind of sad. But it's still it's one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen. There's a French movie from like the '60s
Mm-hmm.
that I really like. I think I don't know how to pronounce it right, but it's Vivre sa vie, and I think it translates to "Let her live her life." That's a really fucking good movie. That's super, super, super duper good. I think Jean-Luc Godard directed it. Yeah, he did. He's one of my favorite directors, French directors, I should say. Uh, any, but more contemporary stuff. I think the last really amazing movie that I saw was like the new Blade Runner movie.
Oh yeah.
Denis
Okay.
Villeneuve directed it, and he's like a master of directing film. And it's weird because I went to watch this. I went in watching. I'm gonna go off on a weird, like I'm gonna sound pretentious a little bit, just to get everybody ready. I'm gonna sound super pretentious,
There we go.
but so I went in. I watched Blade Runner, the new one, alone, and I was like, here I'm going watching this. I'm sorry, there's a giant truck driving past my house. It was so loud. I'm so sorry about that. But I went to go watch this movie alone, and I was like, here I am going to go watch this Ryan Gosling movie that's kind of like a sequel to a movie,
Yeah.
and I'm probably going to get hate for this, to a movie that was kind of just okay. You know, like it wasn't a great movie, it
I
wasn't a
respect
bad
that.
movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it had all these really interesting ideas, but it was like the 80s, dude. Like it's not, how is it going to be like this amazing like piece of, film? Like it means a lot, it's cool.
Oh yeah.
But um, so I'm gonna watch the sequel to that. And I started watching it, and there are so many things he does, framing wise, in the cinematography, in the way that he sets up scenes, that I was just like, how is the director? I'll say his name again because I'm really happy that I learned how to pronounce it. Denis Villeneuve. How is he like merging the mainstream and the art house so effortlessly? Like right before Ryan Gosling meets Harrison Ford, who you find out is still alive, he lands on like that old where it's supposed to be Las Vegas, and it seems like almost a different planet, but it's still not. It's still Earth, It's still crazy. Like
Yeah.
how did he make things seem like this, where like it should be like if anybody else did it, in my opinion, it would not look like Ryan Gosling was standing in a physical space. It would look like he was on a green screen. It would look like, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have that depth, that feeling, and like the way, I don't know. There's a lot of the way he shot it that makes you understand Ryan Gosling's character's loneliness as an android being an android or something. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's one of the coolest parts of that, where it's like you can just listen to that movie also. The sound design is amazing. You can just listen to that movie and
Oh yeah.
understand the feelings of each
It's
scene.
so cool.
That is, yeah, that's one of, I guess, one of the more recent movies that I watched in the theaters that I was like, holy are you kidding me, dog? What? Yeah, that was that one. 'Cause like there's sometimes movies you watch in the theater and you're like, hey man, this is obviously an art house movie.
Yeah.
But like not a lot of times someone can anyone you're gonna like if you go out right now and you say I'm gonna go watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you know
Yeah.
exactly what you're getting. Quentin Tarantino works a certain type of way, or if you're gonna go see a Scorsese movie, you already know these are established people. These are like whatever. But
Yeah.
Blade Runner is like a sequel to a movie, and a lot of pretentious people like myself say, "Oh, every movie is a sequel of something. It's something." So like that's the mindset that I had going in. This is a sequel or a reboot or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then he just like made it so artistic, so beautiful, so fun to watch. But also keeping it in line with that mainstream thing. And I think that's a feat. And also he's directing Dune.
Yeah.
Dune. So that's gonna be probably super fun too. And I'm probably gonna be wowed at that as well. He also directed Arrival and Prisoners, I think, is the
Oh,
name of the
nice.
movie
Yeah.
with Jake Gyllenhaal and Wolverine. And that movie's intense. That movie's super intense. After I saw Prisoners, I was like, I'm going to watch whatever movie this guy makes in the future because this was amazing. And
Yeah.
Arrival was also really good. That's like when the aliens come, but they're trying to learn how to speak their language. That's a real that like with Amy Adams and
Yeah. Yeah.
Hawkeye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's really really good. Like really 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 good.
I just
But
like
yeah,
how
those
you
are
know like half the names, half of their correct name, and then like the other actor, you're just like, that other guy I know that's from a different different movie.
Dude,
Uh,
I'm not good. I'm not good
it's
with
all good.
names,
It's
man.
all good. That was not a slight. I was just like, he has to know who this guy's name is. Like, I was like, he's naming off these other people that he knows, and it's just like, things are adding up for me. Like, I don't get it. Um, but that's awesome. I feel like
I'm sorry for
now.
that super long, pretentious answer. I'm super sorry about that.
No, that was great. I feel like now I feel like you're poised to start a movie review channel where you go in depth on every movie. Um, you're welcome if you want to use that for royalties, whatever. That is up to you. That is your prerogative. But I feel like I was just like entranced for like the like past 5 minutes because I was like, oh my god, I was like, he really went in depth in this movie, like way more than I was just like, oh, like usually people answer the question, they're like, oh yeah, my favorite movie is like Toy Story 1 because like I was a kid and like the kid's the same age as me and like he had toys and like all that stuff, and then you're just like, well, I really like the art direction of like Blade Runner
Yeah.
2049. I feel like the atmosphere was like really matched up with like like the tone of the movie, and I was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like not I was like not even remotely close to being like understanding what just happened, but I'm glad you killed it, knocked it out of the park.
I
Guys, you
told
can
you the
expect.
answer was going to be pretentious,
I
man.
was fine though. I'm glad you set it up because I was really like you really floored me on that. But check out Paul's YouTube channel. It's gonna be coming very soon. I'll leave that in the links in the comments below. So check
Oh
check it
my
out.
god.
But my next question, Paul, kind of to keep the train moving. If you're trapped on a desert island for the next month, and there was one album you could bring with you, what album would it be?
One album. Oh man. Oh man. I think, and this was really weird, because it's super short. And it's more of an EP. I think
Yeah.
it's Joyce Manor's "Of All Things I'll Soon Grow Tired."
Oh, sick. Okay.
That's like has the cover of "Video Killed the Radio Star" on it, I
Yes,
believe.
yes, yes. I think you're
Um,
correct.
but that one, that's my favorite Joyce Manor release because every song on that sounds different than the last. You know,
Y-
like it's not like a straightforward pop punk record. There's like some songs on there that like have a groove to it, and like I don't know. It's real.
It's
It's
real
real. It's
solid.
real. Yeah, it's real interesting to me, and I can listen to it even though it's like 18 minutes long or whatever. I can listen to it back and forth. You know.
And you won't get tired of it. There you go.
No, not at all. Even though the album states I probably should. You know.
Awesome. And the last thing, Paul, the most important thing, Tell them about your band, Live Well, where they can find you at, and anything coming up in the next couple months.
Uh, yes. We're on the Instagram and the Twitter. I think they're both the same, but
Okay.
I'm for sure Instagram is Live Well at Live Well Band. Um, and I think the Twitter is the same. So Max runs the Twitter, or no, that's wrong. I lied. Max runs the Instagram. Max runs the Instagram, and I run the Twitter.
There you
And
go.
Max is really good at Instagram, and I'm really bad at Twitter. So I have no followers. I have maybe like 60, and the Instagram has a lot. So I just like follow the Twitter, I guess. Don't follow the
We had to get the
Instagram.
Twitter up. There
No,
you
follow.
go. I like that. That was
No.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna ruin all of my. He's like, you know what? Listen, the Brandon asked me to do this interview, and he's just like, now I'm gonna get what's mine. I'm gonna ask everybody to follow me on Twitter, and then it's gonna work.
Yeah.
And then the Twitter is going to surpass the Instagram, and all of that hard work my other bandmates put into the band will now be decimated by this wonderful, almost 1 hour and 20-minute interview.
Yeah. But yeah, no, follow both. There's more fun stuff on the Instagram than there is the Twitter. Um, but as for the future, our first full length record is coming out on September 6th.
Woo!
Called Perfectly Temporary. I'm super excited for it. We're having a record release show on the 6th in Yonkers, New York. So if anyone is in that area, you can find all the information on our Instagram and oh shit, I should put it on the Twitter. What's wrong with me? So you can follow the Instagram. That's why nobody follows the Twitter.
Oh
We just
man,
we just figured it out, man. We just
that's
figured it out.
sad.
That's why nobody follows. Yeah.
It was the real
But
realization that you were like, oh man, I didn't post it on Twitter. I forgot.
yeah. I had this information for like a good long time.
It's just funny how
But
you immediately caught yourself. You're like mid sentence, then you're like, oh wait, I didn't do that. And then I was just like, oh wow, that's I've never seen somebody like trip over themselves like doing these things, but that was a pretty big fumble. So
yeah, I blew it.
it's
I
okay.
blew it real hard. But yeah, no, just follow the Instagram. So you can find out all the information for that. It's going to be a really fun show. We have a lot of cool stuff planned
There we
for
go.
it. If you're in the area, we're playing with like the best, in my opinion, some of the best, not all of the best, but some of the best bands in the New York Westchester area.
There you go.
And it's gonna just be like a really, really sick time. The venue's a really cool space. It's kind of just like a warehouse place, but it's really cool DIY space. That'll be a lot of fun and can hold a lot of people. And we want a lot of people to come. We want a lot of people to celebrate with us. The record, not to like go off on a quick tangent, means so much to me because, like I said at the start, I'm the main songwriter. So I wrote like all of these songs over the past like 3 to 5 years. And to see it all out with a full band on a record, on a CD, and then be streaming the same day,
Yeah.
like I'm probably gonna be like in tears all day. It's gonna be a really fun day. But then I'm gonna play a show. I think we're gonna play our record in full, so it'll be a fun night, a long night and a fun night. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we have a music video coming out soon, but I don't know. I don't know anything except for the show stuff and the
Okay.
record stuff.
That's it. Well, I can fill people in on all of the information. So you can go check out Live Well in the description below. Please. We've okay, and I want to disclose that Paul and I have never talked up until this very moment. So all of this is just el natural conversation. So
Yeah.
it was great having him on for like an hour, almost an hour and a half. check out his new record and Live Well's new record, Perfectly Temporary, coming out September 6th. It's awesome. I'm excited to listen to more of it. I got a chance to listen to some of your older stuff, and I was just like definitely floored because I thought it was really well put together. But I'm excited to listen to stuff because I love the early November and man, Overboard. Just being, that New Jersey fam, I gotta represent those two. But super excited for what Live Well has to do, and hopefully you guys will go check them out. Like I said, links in the description. And if you enjoyed this interview, share it, like it, subscribe, and make sure to tweet at whoever that we talked about because I'm getting old and I forget stuff. So go tweet at whatever to make stuff happen where we can do it. And like I said, subscribe and like the video, share it around. It goes a long way. And thanks, of course, to Paul of Live Well for coming on tonight.
Thank
Hey
you.
guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.